My parents told me to do 50% of all chores, so I did exactly as they asked and watched them lose their mind. I was doing dishes when my mom decided I was helping around the house too much. She came up to the countertop I just scrubbed clean one day and slid a contract towards me, angrily declaring, "It's time for you to stop overstepping. This states you will do exactly 50% of everything this family needs. No more, no less." My dad chimed in with a grin like he'd done something. The irony was palpable. I practically gave my life up for my siblings. I dropped out of high school at 17 just to cook and clean after the children my parents had abandoned so they could pursue a life of substances and an open relationship. I looked at the contract, then my siblings' smug faces, and signed it with a grin. "You're right, guys. Thank you for putting me in my place." "Thank goodness," my siblings Amy and Finn said in unison. The only sign of gratitude was from 10-year-old Amelia, holding my hand beside me. The next morning, I made myself breakfast while Amy stood in the kitchen, staring at the empty stove like it might suddenly produce pancakes. "Where's breakfast?" she demanded. I pointed to the contract on the fridge. "That's more than 50% of the cooking, Amy. I'm sure Mom will help you." The look on her face was almost worth the years of thankless work. Within 3 days, the electricity got shut off for 2 hours because the paper notice was buried under pizza boxes. Finn got suspended for violent outburst when he was bullied about his hygiene, and Amy got detention for stealing a kid's lunch since our parents didn't buy any groceries. The only one I couldn't watch suffer was Amelia. I'd sneak her sandwiches and help with her homework. 2 weeks in, my parents called a family meeting. "This is insane!" Dad shouted at me. "You're destroying everything just to prove a point." Mom was crying actual tears. "This is your fault," Amy screamed at our parents. "You started this stupid contract thing." Mom's face was pure venom. "If you can't be part of this family properly, then leave. Get out." The words hung there for a second. "Okay," I said with a shrug. The shock on their faces was almost comical. I went to pack my things, and when I walked past Amelia's room to say goodbye, I could hear her crying, but she wouldn't come out, so I just left and stayed with a friend. A week later, I was stocking shelves at my night job when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "It's Amelia, borrowing a phone. Can we meet?" We met at McDonald's the next afternoon. It was 85 degrees out, but she was wearing a thick hoodie with the hood up. What's going on?" I asked. She looked around nervously before pulling her hood down, and I had to physically stop myself from gasping. There were bald patches all over her head, like someone had yanked out chunks of her hair. Some spots still looked raw. She reached for the orange juice I'd bought, and that's when her sleeve rode up. Burn marks. Perfect little circles on her forearm like someone put cigarettes out on her skin. "Amelia, what happened?" My voice came out as barely a whisper. She yanked her sleeve down. "I'm the only one who can't do my chores right." Her voice was so matter-of-fact, like this was normal. "Amy and Finn don't live there anymore. Grandma took them after the thing with the school calling." She didn't elaborate on what thing meant. "It's just me now, and I have to do every chore perfectly." My brain was spinning, trying to process what I was seeing, when Amelia suddenly looked at her borrowed phone, and her face went white. "I only had 20 minutes. I have to go. I'm late." "Late for what?" I grabbed her hand gently, feeling how small it still was. Her whole body started trembling. "Please let me go. I don't want to go in the basement with Daddy again." She pulled away and ran before I could stop her. I sat there for a full minute, trying to make sense of what just happened. I couldn't call CPS. They'd take hours to respond, and my parents would make Amelia lie. Cops wouldn't do anything without immediate danger. But then I remembered Marco. We'd dealt together junior year before he went straight and started his own security company. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking. "Marco, remember when you said you owed me one? I need to cash that in tonight." 20 minutes later, Marco pulled up with 2 of his guys. "Your parents home?" he asked. I nodded. He looked at his guys. "This is about a kid. We clear?" They nodded without hesitation. We walked up to the front door and I knocked. Dad opened it, saw me, and his face went purple. "You have some nerve." Marco stepped forward. "Inside, now." Dad tried to slam the door, but the bigger guy shouldered it open. They barged in, starting to rummage through. "This is a home invasion." I'm calling. Dad started, but Marco pulled out zip ties from his pocket, just holding them casually. "You're going to tell us about the basement." Mom suddenly went pale as paper. "What basement?" "We don't," but Marco's guy had already found it, hidden behind the utility shelf that had supposedly been too heavy to move. Full story on channel, link below.